Hey everybody, Jimmy here with Bright Insight. What you're looking at are photos that I took myself, and at the end of this presentation I'm going to show you 3 different videos as well, that I took while deployed to Iraq in August of 2010 while in Mosul. And Mosul is located in the Nineveh province, which is historically famous in that there's a story from the Bible of Jonah who was swallowed up by the whale, and 3 days later he got out, and apparently he immediately went to the gates of Nergal, which is the exact location where you see me standing here. And yeah, that's me in the photographs trying to look cool. So these gates have been largely restored, but many aspects like the wall, for example, is completely original, except for the top pieces. Like look at this photograph here of the guard tower where you see that there's been mortar that's been added to restore the blocks. But the rest of the blocks are completely just stacked upon each other, and the wall exceeds more than 30 feet high. And I'll show you some of the figures here in a second. Now these wing bulls, as they're referred to as, they're also known as the Lamassu. They're very mysterious. The only thing archaeologists can come up with is that they must, because they're not sure, that they must originate from the Assyrian culture approximately 3000 BC. So in other words, 5,500 years ago, or 1,000 years before the pyramids allegedly were built, because the textbooks tell us that they were built 4,500 years ago, which I disagree with. But that aside, these are 1,000 years older than the pyramids are supposed to be. They're absolutely massive. There's dozens of them that exist. There's some in museums in Baghdad, and they also have been found in Iran, which is pretty incredible. So whoever made these were part of a civilization that was very vast, which historically we know that the Sumerians come from Mesopotamia, and they covered a vast area, so it's pretty incredible. Now the area itself, basically there's 9 gates from what I understand, and it's surrounded by this wall, which is absolutely huge. I mean, compare it to the size of that van right there. Now, it's also worth mentioning that the Iraqis do not take good care of this location at all. It's surrounded by a bunch of burnt out, blown up, and shot up cars and vehicles from the war. It's pretty screwed up. And right across the street from it is an Iraqi police station, which is what we were doing there. And I was very privileged to be able to go up and check out these statues myself. And again, at the end of the video, I'll show you some actual video of it and me shooting it, which is pretty hilarious. But I remember going there and walking up, as you can see, this walkway, which is original from what I understand, or at least it appears to be. And I couldn't help but imagine how many armies and people had walked up this before and just been completely it was really interesting being there personally and being able to witness it, because I knew I was in a very special old place that was full of mystery and God knows how much, history within itself. Now, as you can see in this photo of this plaque, and it's trying to depict, which appears to be slaves, and I say that because the person on the middle on the left appears to be whipping them as they carry up what appears to be, I don't know, one of these statues, or perhaps a person, a dead person, a coffin, I don't know. Now, I also need to mention that these statues themselves, as you can see in this photo here, was buried when they found it, which is really interesting, because how was it buried and when? This site in itself is also famous because you may have seen it on the news a couple years ago when ISIS was seen breaking them up with jackhammers and sledgehammers, and just pretty pathetic. I don't even think that they destroyed them entirely. They showed some. I remember seeing video of it, and they were having difficulty even with the sledgehammers and with the jackhammer, because again, this is quartz, guys. This is really hard stuff. And if you go watch some video of them actually trying to beat it, they break it up, but it didn't look too easy, and that's with freaking power tools. So it really makes you wonder. Now look at these other photographs of the wall, and again, it surrounds an area that is apparently 12 kilometers, I think is the perimeter. And I'm going to show a picture up here that has the description that's poorly translated, but you can read it for yourself. Press pause now if you want to read it. But again, I want to point out just the amazing precision. It's not until you touch these things yourself. I remember knocking on these statues with my hand, with my knuckles. Even though I was wearing a glove, it still hurt. I was astonished by just how solid and hard it feels. And when you look at just the fine details they have within the beard, the feathers, and the underbelly of this being, this person, this guy's face with a big beard and this ox or horse body with massive wings, what made them come up with this, and why did they build dozens of them in the first place? Is it just symbolism? I mean, really, what is this? Is this part of something else that we just can't even imagine? I have no idea. But the precision in itself, I can't imagine the fact that this is made out of quartzite, which is a 7 out of 10 on the Mohs scale of hardness. I mean, it's harder than rose granite, okay? So it makes you wonder how they were able to do something so detailed. Even if they had steel, which we know they didn't. It's a Bronze Age culture, allegedly, where these came from. So they shouldn't have had anything other than copper to work with. And modern day stonemasons utilize diamond bit drills, and they acknowledge that because of the hardness, you can't even shape these without having steel. But even if I had a steel pick, even if they had that, let's say, which apparently they don't, but if they did, and we're just not aware of it, I couldn't even imagine doing something so precise because quartzite is full of crystals. So it would be so rugged or rigid, I should say, and breaking up. I don't know, guys. Yeah, to me, this is absolute evidence of lost ancient high technology, and there's far more to the story of these winged bulls than what the frickin' Wikipedia page says. So keep that in mind. Now, real quick, I want to show you these photographs. So when I was in Mosul, I was on Fob Merez, which is part of Diamondback, which was the air base there. It doesn't exist anymore, obviously, since we left. But St. Elijah's Monastery, which is Iraq's oldest monastery, apparently, which originates from the 6th century. So in the year 500 something, this was made. And it has a rich history that, well, apparently it's been massacred multiple times by invaders and everyone else. But it's incredibly old, and it makes you wonder the story behind it for something that is, again, we're talking 1,500 years ago this was built. But ISIS also blew it up or bulldozed it. You can see it in these photos here, and that was on the news not long ago, or a few years ago. So it's pretty disturbing. Anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts. Take a look at these videos now. They're going to go ahead and play for you back to back. 2 of them are at the site of Nergal, and the third one is just driving past the St. Elijah Monastery on the way to the test fire pit before going on mission in Iraq. Anyways, guys, I'm Jimmy. This is Bright Insight. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Watch the videos coming up right now.
Yeah. We're tourists in Iraq.